Disabled Children's Childhood Studies, Critical Approaches in a Global Context is an edited book with Katherine at the University of the West of England in Bristol in the UK. And it's an interesting and perhaps unusual book because it's written by disabled children, young people, adults, disabled adults reflecting on their childhoods, as well as academics who've done work with disabled children in research, all reflecting on the issues in disabled children's lives. I think that one of the things that happens when people talk about research in disabled children is that it's often driven by adults' agendas. So research with disabled children is often about service provision. They don't get to choose what it is that they're talking about. And in this book, it's disabled children talking from their perspective about what's important in their lives. So the other thing that runs really strongly through the book is this idea of the norm, and that disrupting or troubling the idea of the norm. So it's not trying to describe disabled children's childhoods always in reference to some mythical normal childhood, but stepping outside of that and celebrating their childhoods from the children's own perspectives, I guess. Often childhood studies assumes, they talk about active social agents, that there's been a huge shift in childhood studies which values the voice of the child, privileges the voice of the child, but the child that's imagined by childhood studies is often an able and normal child who's on a normal trajectory, who's meeting those developmental milestones. So disabled children have kind of been marginalised within childhood studies because they are not seen to be performing as other children. Often they're excluded from research or they're added on at the end. So suddenly somebody will think, oh gosh, we didn't ask any disabled children, we'll just stick them in at the end. So disabled children's childhood studies would always be thinking about beginning with approaches and research questions that would have relevance in disabled children's lives, never as just a bolt-on and never in comparison to this mythical norm. So this book is really, because it's written by disabled children, young people, activists and allies to disabled people, it's for anybody who's interested in the lives of disabled children. So there are academic and theoretical chapters, but there are also chapters written from experience. And the first section of the book is the Voices section, which really puts at the forefront the voices of disabled children and young people.